What's up with it? My name is Phyphy. I'm going to talk about the Science March today. The most ridiculous tweets from the Science March. Now, before I get into this, I went to the Science March of 2017. Now, that Science March, it was pretty interesting. See, I got there thinking about what I'm going to say and how I'm going to interact with people, but then I saw some interesting things, so I decided to lay low and just peep what's going on around me. Believe it or not, the Science March wasn't about science. At least the Science March I went to. It was mostly about protesting Trump. I mean, he has said that climate change and global warming is a Chinese hoax. That is true. He did tweet that. However, they were protesting things that had nothing to do with him, like Trump is a racist, bigot, this, that, and the third. They were also talking about many other things that had nothing to do with science, and it became evident to me that this was Women's March 2.0, and everyone knows they were marching about things that weren't a thing. For instance, they were marching for the wage gap. The wage gap for some time now has been debunked, and we know that there are many factors that play into the wage gap. Women aren't being paid less because they're women, yet the Women's March persists. Now with the Science March, this is a new movement, and this is a new movement to protest Trump. It's greatly influenced by the left. I don't remember one conservative speaker, one libertarian speaker speaking on behalf of science or scientists making any type of sense. I mean, they all got up there and was just yelling about Trump.
Hello, everybody! Science, not silence! Science, not silence! Science, not silence!
It was just a mess, and I didn't like it, and I began to realize that these are just virtue signaling to make one another feel good and to gain brownie points. It's not actually doing anything. They're not trying to push for any law or policy to be put in place. They're just showing out. Now let's get to these tweets. So the very first tweet says, "A march for science because judging from Trump's first 446 days in office, we'll need better drugs. Hashtag March for Science." Really? We'll need better drugs? I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the stuff that I was hearing when I was in the March for Science in my city. And I mean, it's just crazy because these people, they're dead serious. And yet people wonder why they don't take these marchers seriously. So let's go to the next one. Hey, conservatives mocking March for Science. Log out of Twitter, get off your phone or computer, power down AC, refrigerators, and TVs, flip off the lights, stop taking medication or supplements, pee and poop outside, no driving cars either, show science who's boss. America. Now, this tweet is really stupid and is basically a straw man. I don't think there's many conservatives that's actually saying that they're against science or they're against marching for science in particular. What they see is this movement being very hypocritical, not being about science at all, but being about Trump, like I said before, and which the tweet before showed. So he's again playing this, he's talking to his own crowd, but he's talking past the regular conservative that has an issue with this march. Even the conservatives do this. Charlie Kirk says, "There are only two genders. Race is a made-up concept. A fetus is a human life. It is debated our contribution to rising global temperatures. Men are better at some things than women. Women are better at other things than men. This is all science. Hashtag March for Science." Now obviously he's playing on popular conservative talking points. He's not actually saying anything of value here. I mean, when he says there are only two genders, he really means there are only two sexes. There are only two main sexes. That's that with that. And then he said race is a made-up concept. No, race is not a made-up concept. I mean, by that logic, everything is a made-up concept. Gravity is a made-up concept. Planets and, other things, chemicals are a made-up concept too, but they're not. So, I mean, I don't know what he's talking about there. A fetus is a human life. Yes, he's right there. And actually, I've heard people say a fetus is not a human life. So he's right. It is debated our contribution to rising global temperatures. Yes, it's debated. I mean, that's what science is about. But at the same time, no, it is not debated that global warming is happening like you're insinuating here. You're implying that just because it's debated, it means that we can't talk about it or we can't make policies based off the debate. This is not politics. Science isn't always cut and dry. Actually, it rarely is, especially dealing with physics, such as the geophysics of climate change or global warming. Whenever I hear people say that, it makes me realize that they are talking about something they have no clue about at all. Another conservative says, talk about irony. The March for Science in Minnesota needed to be postponed due to winter weather in April. These global warming nuts couldn't march about the planet being too warm because there was too much cold and snow. God has an amazing sense of humor. Well, first of all, climate and weather aren't the same thing. Climate deals with the global average temperature. Weather deals with a local temperature. Your weather in your city is one thing. The climate is another thing. So when people say stuff like this, they show their ignorance over the topic of global warming.
Of national attention, in case we have forgotten, because we keep hearing that 2014 has been the warmest year on record, I asked the chair, you know what this is? It's a snowball, and that's just from outside here. So it's very, very cold out, very unseasonal. So here, Mr. President, catch this.
So another one, hashtag March for Science. What do we want science? When do we want it? After a peer review. I don't understand why they're cheering or saying that at all, because that's how science is given, through peer review, and to say that, I mean, again, more virtue signaling. That's what it shows. Anyway, I hope you guys like this video. If you like it, like it. If you don't, comment below, tell me why.